What is going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be giving you a bit of an interesting video because I have gotten a lot of questions about starting off in ESO. So I thought to myself, well, instead of having all these end game versus early game gold making methods, because a lot of times, like say you were to farm like 1,000 perfect row, well, it's going to take a long time for you to sell those. So while yes, it is a good method, you really should have a lot of diversity in your early gold making methods. So then I thought to myself, why don't I just make a video where I cover, the early, your first 0 to 1,000,000 gold on ESO, how you guys should be making it, and what you guys should be doing to kind of diversify your portfolios without like grinding gold to a tedious degree. Because at the end of the day, ESO is meant to be fun, and that's why I play it like that. I don't really go out and grind gold. I just do things like active events, or when I get something, maybe I'll item flip a little bit, but I don't sit and grind, the Telvar or fish, for 8 hours a day. And this is what we're going to be talking about today: how to diversify your portfolio, how to make gold without really wanting to blow your brains out. And you'll see that I've invaded another home. I was going to do this on a player who was online, however, unfortunately the servers were down, so there's probably like 10 of us on the ESO servers right now. But if you recognize your house, because I know you've watched videos because you've mailed me, then here I am. I'm here. But in the future, I'm going to do it to people who are online inside their house and just start recording and seeing if they notice. But let us now head on over to Mournhold, and while we are on the way, this is a friendly reminder: if you wouldn't mind to like the video and subscribe. If you like the video, more people see the video, so it's really helpful. And if you subscribe, you're entered into half of the giveaway. We have 2 giveaway drawings. One is for every subscriber, and the second one, every comment gets pulled. You can comment on as many videos as you want, the old ones, the new ones. If you watch videos from a certain length ago, though, I apologize, because it's always a learning process, and I've been learning with you guys how to not suck ass at video editing. So thank you for bearing with me as I've slowly progressed. Hopefully it's getting better. So we're in Mournhold, and the reason that we're in Mournhold is not actually to do anything specific, but I just wanted to show you guys something, for example. So if I was to go to this random guild trader, breaking the wheel, a bunch of nice chaps here, we're just going to sort by time. And you can see that there's a whole bunch of just different types of things. We got sets, we got glyphs, we got raw mats, we got overland gear, we got companion gear, we got housing items. And the reason that I wanted to point this out to you guys is because there's different types of ways to make gold. And I think that a lot of times when you focus on just one, unfortunately things like start to fall through. So this is going to kind of break into my first tip for you guys, and that's going to be to step 1, join 5 guilds that have a free trader. It's super easy to do. You can go to the guild finder, you can search for trading. You don't have to do any single ones with dues. There are due traders, there's ones that don't have dues. You can see this one's dues free. So there's tons of different great options for you guys for free traders. Now, this is just step 1. Obviously, we're going to be talking about what we're going to be selling, because everything's going to be a little bit different for you guys, because it's going to depend on, how you play the game. So that's why we're also going to talk about your play style and what you can be selling based on your play style. So we're also going to presuppose a couple of different things. So let's start off here with those of you guys who you're just playing the game, you're grinding, you're doing kind of random zones, you're just kind of playing, what should you be doing? And to those of you who are playing that, where you're just like, yeah, I'm just doing different zones that I find interesting, well, what I would suggest is go to zones that have really good, like, overland gear, like Rothgar, Western Skyrim, the Reach. And by doing this, you're also increasing your chances of getting items that sell for a decent amount. You could also do it at Vardenfell, because if you're CP 160, you could be, ripping and rolling around, come across a chest, get a decent piece of Briarheart or Pariah, and list it up there. You can also find motifs and stuff and different things, kind of doing the daily quests and such there. We'll talk about daily quests a little bit later. But if you're just playing ESO, A common misconception is that the stuff that you're picking up is worthless. And a perfect example of why that isn't true is there's a dagger that drops from doing the Hrothgar main story quest that's worth like 100k gold, or at least it was on Xbox. And on PC, at one point, it was worth 500k. It was a main story quest that anyone could do at any point, and it was still worth oogles amounts of gold. Because most people, don't want to do the main story quest and progress all the way through to the end. So it's a good suggestion for you guys is when you do these side quests or daily quests or zone story quests, the gear is not necessarily worthless. You can generally still list it up for a premium and see if you can make a little bit of gold on it. Those are the zones, though, that I would focus on doing that. It's not going to be your most profitable. You're still going to definitely get more gold by actually farming for specific sets, like doing a zone, maybe like a chest route or farming the public dungeon. Again, but if you're just passively playing, why not passively play in a zone that has really good gear for you guys to do? Next, we have alliance points. So doing your daily alliance points is just a great way to make gold because AP to gold is a super easy way to convert your gold. I have so many videos on this, so I'm not going to go back over everything. But when I would take my characters from 10 to 50, one of the most common things that I would do is just do battlegrounds from 10 to 50, and that was the only XP method. And it worked out really well because it's fun. And you'll come out with about 1,000,000 AP if you go from 10 to 50 just doing battlegrounds. So obviously it'll depend too, like on performance, if your team's getting the dickens, not getting the dickens. And it's not really stressful because as long as you're not naked, you'll be decent. My suggestion would be is if you are doing low-level battlegrounds, you just want to make sure you have a decent heal and a decent execute, and probably something that makes you more mobile, that being anything that makes you go just a wee bit faster. So those are the things that I would suggest for you to do low-level battlegrounds. But again, then you just convert your AP to gold, and you just passively play. Even if you're on a high-level character, doing your daily battlegrounds is a great way to get XP and Rewards of the Worthy. Rewards of the Worthy are a super profitable thing. I've gotten shields of Mara's Bloom that have been selling for 300k. Granted, it's a brand new set, but even if you were to get it today after watching this video, you're still going to be able to get really good items from your Rewards of the Worthy boxes, and all you had to do was just do a daily battleground. There's no stress. You don't have to grind, hours and hours and hours and hours of battlegrounds. That's why I want you guys to feel like there's a lot of diversity that you guys could be doing when you're playing the game. Another good example of this is like dragon slaying, for example. Dragon slaying is super profitable. In fact, it is one of the most profitable things that you can do right now on Xbox and A, in my opinion, especially if you have the Realm. Granted, it's not going to go into the super details of this, but basically if you have an achievement that is dealing with the Southern Elsewhere dragons, if you've done enough daily quests, you get an achievement that gets you to get the Dragon Realm drop. Super profitable. Dragons drop a lot of things. They drop treasures, they drop set items, they drop re-ingredients that's used for all sorts of good stuff, and it's super profitable. So doing a daily where you kill a dragon or a couple can be a really nice way to make a good chunk of change. And a good thing to consider too is same with Harrow Storms. You can pick up both dragon slaying quests in Northern and Southern Elsewhere, or Harrow Storms in the Reach and Western Skyrim, and then just do the dragons in either zone. It will count for both, same with the Harrow Storms. So it's a really great way to kind of mid-maxing your daily quests, getting some reward coffers, saving some extra time, and giving you some potentially good items to list. Because that's the key to all of this, is your end goal is going to be to have a nice portfolio of things to sell. And if you've got some AP items, if you've got some Overland items, if you've got some motifs, because we'll talk a little bit about motifs when we get to daily quests, you're going to be able to get a whole bunch of good stuff, just to throw in basically into a free trader and make passive income. If you're in 5 guilds with a trader each, that's 5 times 30, which is 150 if my math is correct. That's 150 items. The average non-traded item that's used for either PvE or PvP usually ranges, like an average one, not, a perfectly traded or a very hard to get item, ranges from about 8 to 15,000. And if you took 150, and this is just times 8,000, you would be getting 1.2 million in gold in inventory. And that's just filling up with passive items that you're getting from the Overland. It could be passive gear sets. That's motives. Generally, when I get a motive, I'm like, I just list it for like 8K. If it's like an old motive from like Vardenfell, I could probably get more. And if you're watching this on PC, you can definitely get more because the PC inflation is definitely a lot different on Xbox. But the key is to list items. And I have videos on price checking. I also link in the description of all my videos how to price check. And if you do play on something like PC, there's great resources, but if you play on PlayStation, I would suggest Xbox bots and things to look, because there's a lot of similarities between the PlayStation and the Xbox servers. Different variability, but again, when it comes to something like this where you're just trying to get a general idea of how much something is worth, it's not a bad idea. The other thing that I want to encourage you guys to do to start getting into the swing of things is your daily writs. You can see I'm in Somerset here, which is probably the #1 writ farm. There would definitely be more people here farming their writs if the servers didn't just come back online for being offline for like 6 hours. But this is a great way to get easy gold, because once you get to max level crafting, it opens up new ways to make gold. So say you're like, Jake, I just farmed, I threw up all my pieces that I've been getting, from my zones. I was farming, Western Skyrim, I got a whole bunch of pieces from there. I went to the Reach, got some good pieces from there. I don't know what to do now. And then I would say, well, if you're a crafter, you could pre-make some crafted sets. If you're an enchanter, you can also go into a little enchanting place and then just start making glyphs. I would make a different types of glyphs, like make some health, some stamina ones, the jewelry ones. Maybe if you've got some Telvar, you can make some triune ones. It's a really great way to make gold without risking anything, because even if you have to buy the kudas, and this is just based on Xbox, you're not going to be losing a lot of money, because, for example, I could sell this glyph for 8,000. It would take a couple days, but the kuda itself is only worth 4 to 4.5 thousand. So there's still a profit margin to be had. It's not nearly as good if you have your own kudas, but again, all we're trying to do is fill those 150 slots, because that's honestly the key for what I want you guys to do. And this is also just a reminder that you don't have to be social in these guilds. I know there's a lot of people who want to play solo, they want to grind their gold solo, but please consider just joining guilds and using their traders. I know that it's not... Some people like it as based... Some people want to see ESO as more of like an RPG and not an MMORPG, and I understand that. But this is just a great way to kind of game the system for stuff that you have. Another great thing and tip that I want you guys to also consider too is just keeping all of your listings available. Like, always try to be close to 150 items, and when you're not, go out and fill it with something. And don't feel like you have to fill it with something specific. You don't have to go out and fish for 5 hours to fill it with perfect row. You could do a battleground, get a random piece of Rewards of the Worthy, throw that up there. You could go out, convert your Telvar, buy some Hajaku runes, throw that in there. Maybe you've got a lot of AP and you're like, I just want to buy some AP, stuffs. Throw that up in there. Maybe you've got a max level crafter and you want to throw your crafting gear up there. Maybe you've been doing your daily writs and you've been getting a lot of gold mats. Throw that up there. The key is, and I see a lot of people do this and avoid this, don't list the same types of items. Because, for example, my friends, and I won't name drop them, you know who you are, they will do something like a mid-year mayhem event, right? And then they will come out with like 10 million AP, and they'll all buy, we'll just pick a set, Elfbane, and then they'll fill 5 Mournhold traders with 150 pieces of Elfbane. The problem with this is you're now competing against yourself. Because say, for example, you got 30 legs. Even if you evenly distribute those legs, generally you're not going to have a whole lot of people buying multiple pieces of pants. Whereas if you have like 1 chest, 1 leg, 1 boots, the same person who's buying those legs might buy all 3 of those pieces. So you're going to be able to turn over that inventory faster. That's why, for example, if you are converting your AP, buy a little bit of like Curse Eater, buy some Elfbane, buy some Elysian. buy some Buffer of the Swift, buy some Deadly. You don't have to throw it all into the same thing. That's what I want you guys to get in the habit of. Same with Telvar. If you want to buy a whole bunch of Prism Rooms, you go ahead and do that, but you can also start buying things too, like I had touched upon in my video, like some of the sets with Telvar also. I've been having some decent sets selling those Telvar sets. That's what I want you guys to get in the habit of. I want your listings to be different, but at the end of the day too, I don't want you to stress about, filling up these traders right away. The key is play the game how you want. And that's the final point that I'm going to touch on is daily quests, because you guys ask this very often, and there's a very simple rule of thumb for this. You guys ask, what daily quests should I be doing to make gold? And generally, profitability is what I would call backwards compatible. So you take the most recent DLC, which is High Isle, and then you put that at the top as the most profitable, and then you have like the oldest DLCs, and then you put that at the bottom. And then it's basically a sliding scale with a couple exceptions. The biggest exception I would say is probably Hrothgar and Vardenfell, just because there's so many good sets there. But when it comes to like the motives and stuff, most people will have them. But you still have like the daily quests from High Isle. You got the ones from the Deadlands. You got really good sets from the Skyrims. You got super easy farmable ones from the Elsewheres. The motives and stuff aren't super valuable there, except Southern Elsewhere. I'm a huge fan of the Dragon Guard chest. That's actually the one that I have. This bad Mama Jamma cost me a pretty penny. And there are some exceptions too, like the Gold Coast came out before Hugh's Bane, and generally speaking, the daily quests here are more valuable. Although I will say that heisting definitely has the ability to give you way more gold than anything else. But at the end of the day too, again, I just don't want you guys to stress about filling up these traders, because sometimes when I post out a video like farm for gold, you guys will comment like, I just fished for 8 hours and got X amount of row. I don't want you guys to waste your play time doing things that you don't want to do. The key to making your first million is to play how you want, but also just know that a lot of the things that you're pulling, the things that you're putting into your craft bag, and so on and so forth, they have value. The pieces that you're picking up in the overworld have value. So go out there, throw them on the market, and then go forth and prosper. I have tons of videos for gold. I just made a video yesterday on how to turn your Undaunted keys to gold. There's so many good ways that you guys can make gold in the game, but all I do is I implore you, which is my SAT word for the day, is just have fun. Don't feel like you need to have millions of gold. For example, I have 9.6 million gold on this character. I would have way more if I didn't buy furniture pieces on here, but at the end of the day, I don't need 9.6 million gold. I really don't even need that much gold. I just need the ability to go to the way shrines and to upgrade the gear that I want, and I pretty much have the upgraded gear that I want. So it's really about having fun in an MMO, and I know that I have hit you guys over the head with this, and you're probably like, Jake, I understand you want us to have fun, but it's just important, because it's actually probably more effective. Because if you're selling a diversity of items versus 150 perfect row versus little AP, little Telvark, maybe some Master Writs, maybe some gold items, maybe some modus you've been getting, some set items, you're gonna get more sales. So I hope this was helpful. This is a bit of a longer video because there was a couple things that I wanted to touch on, and again, this is a subject that I'm very passionate about. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys, because there is just so many different ways to make gold on ESO. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.